everyone. Welcome to Lunch Break with ATI, the weekly podcast for Actors Theater of Indiana. My name is Cynthia Collins. I am one of the co-founders of Actors Theater of Indiana, the professional resident theater company at the Center for the Performing Arts right here in good old Carmel, Indiana, USA. And today we have... It's hilarious already. We have Audrey Larkin. Audrey is the managing director over at the Cat, and the Cat is a venue here in Carmel. Kind of an interesting venue. It's gone through quite a few transitions since it was built.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But currently, it is like tell currently what's happening there now.
So currently, the Cat, while a rental venue, has our own home company in residence, I guess, at this point in time.
Yeah, you would say
so
that.
we run a program called the Apprentice Theater, and the Apprentice Theater is doing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the musical.
Yes.
Tiny. It's
Tiny
not
show.
a small show. It is the largest show we've ever put on the stage.
Yeah, that's a tiny stage, too.
It
really is a small stage.
It is a small space. It's the equivalent of a black box theater that we're doing a large proscenium stage show on. And I got really good at Tetris a couple of shows back, and it's now helping a whole heck of a lot. So it's very fun, but it's the largest apprentice cast we've ever had with 46 members in it.
How do you fit all those people on that stage? If you've ever been over there, you know it's like a postage stamp.
It's like a 24 feet wide, 19 feet deep.
And backstage, there's not like...
There is not much
There
room.
is not.
Everyone's very
Are they out in the parking
familiar.
lot? Are they
There's some
in
people
a shed?
There's some people in the lobby while the show is going on, and then all of the kids in the cast for every show are actually in my office.
Oh, God.
And so we turned the office
Yikes.
into a third dressing room, and then they kind of spill out. There's a little, we call it the atrium. It's between our office and the men's dressing room. Not much more space, but it's enough for them to like lay on the floor with their iPads. And
Yeah, the kid. Yeah, when you got kids in a show, they're always, when they're downtime,
Yes,
backstage, that's always a little tricky.
it is a little tricky, but
Yeah.
they're very good helpers. They always love to get backstage to try and help move set pieces, some of which they're less than 3 feet tall, and I worry
Right,
that
right.
they're going to get crushed.
Oh, child labor laws. Kind of that, too. And there's that.
I'd be worried if they weren't like so tenacious about moving. They have the littlest kids are in the sewer scene in Act 2, and there are 2 rocks that we borrowed from The Point, which is another theater group in the area that uses the Cat.
Okay.
And every night they go, "Can I move my own rock? Please, can I move my own rock?" I promise I'm strong enough.
Oh.
They're made of foam. They're not heavy,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
is.
Yeah. Hey, at least they're, at least the kids, like, hey, they're not lazy. They care.
Yeah, they care.
They're all in,
invested.
right?
They know the show. If I had an adult who was ill, those kids could play any role.
That's what kids are. They're sponges. They
They're
soak
sponges.
up everything
they
around
know
them.
all of the lines.
Yeah.
They know all of the blocking.
Yeah.
If you told them that they had to put on a costume and be a spy or the bear, they would do it. They would do it.
Well, good. I mean, that's what you want,
Yeah.
You want everybody, like you said, who's gung-ho, all in. Everybody's in, It's a group effort. When did you, because like I said, that building has been a lot of things. I remember when it first was built, I don't know, was it called the Cat always?
No.
It was a cabaret space.
So
a little
before
while.
us, it was a place called the Warehouse.
Oh, geez.
Which was, and this was 7 or 8 years ago, and it was like for bands, and they brought in like national touring acts.
Yeah. Because it was tables and chairs.
Which we inherited. We inherited the tables and chairs.
Okay.
We've now extended the stage. We've doubled the stage in size
Yes,
from when
I
that
do
was
know
there.
that. Yeah.
We've added risers in the back.
Yeah.
To help make everything more appealing for audiences.
Yeah.
Before that, the fun thing about Carmel is we walk around and tell you fun history facts about life. So apparently, the building itself used to be a post office. It also used to
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it also used to make manufacture plane parts
Oh, I didn't know any
in the
of
very
this.
original iteration of the building.
Okay.
And I'm like,
because I thought it was me. I'm thinking, oh, they built this place. I didn't even know. I didn't even know it was there.
It was
Absolutely no knowledge of the building before it started. I guess being being the warehouse and doing being a cabaret space,
being a small performance space.
Yeah.
And it was, but apparently it's been around somewhere between 60 to 80 years.
Okay.
And it's been like a manufacturing plant, and there's like a
So
million
tiny.
garage
My gosh.
spaces. So
Wow.
it used to be the post office, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh
great
my
for loading
gosh.
docks now for shows.
Yeah, because you have that
Yeah.
the garage door in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, that'd be cool to have pictures in there of what it used to be
If I
in
could
the
find
lobby.
any of
Well, you
them.
go to the Historical Society of Carmel. They have everything. They have a
They
ton
do.
of stuff,
That's true.
which is all in storage now because they're building that
New one.
museum,
Yeah.
right? They're building but I love that kind of stuff, right? And if you go in and you see, oh, this is what it used to be. Oh, look at this. It was a post office. I never knew. Of course, my manufacturing plant. I bet nobody knew that. You know, that's really interesting.
I had a gentleman. He had to be like 80 or 90 years old, and he apparently had worked here when it was making biplane propellers.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
it was very cool.
Yeah. How did now? So how did you come about to get all involved with this? This theater group. How did you? You know what I mean? I mean, what? How did it come about? Are you from here?
I am from here. I'm born and raised Carmel, Indiana.
Oh my gosh! Okay.
I went to Guerin Catholic High School.
Okay.
And when I was a freshman in high school at age 14, Will Wood, who was the owner of the Cat, directed a show called Dames at Sea.
Yes, I know it.
Which is a tap musical that I
Yes.
conned my way into.
Yes, it is. A lot of tap in that show.
There's a lot of tap in that show. I knew enough tap to get cast, and I then had to have my friend who was also cast with me, who actually was a tapper, teach me how to do all of the stuff under the table at lunch. But that's where I met Willie, and then I proceeded to do a bunch of shows with him in the next 4 years while I was in high school. And then I went away to college and got a degree in acting, directing, and dramaturgy, which for anyone who doesn't know what a dramaturg is,
It's
I always say
a big deal, I think.
I compare it to a curator to a museum, is a dramaturg to a theater.
Yeah. That's a good way to a good way to put it.
People know what that is.
Yeah, that's a very you really have to know a lot. I mean, I'm saying it in a very simple way, but it is the knowledge that you have to have in your head for dramaturgy is massive.
Yes.
I mean, I respect it.
It's wonderful, but in the process of it, I learned how to work with new playwrights and how to work with groups that are putting on historical shows that they don't really know what they're doing, and all the kinds of things that really like turn my crank. And then I graduated, moved home, did what all people who get an arts degree do, and I started working for a catering company and doing marketing for a physical therapy place. And then Will calls me and he, like 6 months after I come back, and he goes, so I lost an actress from our very first Carmel Apprentice show, which was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Okay.
And he goes, can you learn the show in 3 weeks?
In 3 weeks. You probably say you'll learn it in 3 days.
Yes, especially at that point in time, it was a heavily cut version because of apprentices. And so I came in and did that show, and then I directed the next apprentice show while I worked all of my odd jobs. Then I was in the next musical as Morticia, and then
The
Addams Family.
Yeah.
And then at that point in time, we were a non-for-profit. We were applying for grants, and then we got a grant, and he says, can you please come full-time and work for me?
Right.
And I did.
Well, he's lucky.
So
You're like a jack of all trades.
yeah.
Here. I mean, right? Because
bit,
you're not. You were saying you were managing director. You're like, and I write the grants.
Yeah.
Which I was saying before we were on the air. That is not easy. That's probably one of the hardest jobs for a not-for-profit is to write those grants.
Yes.
Because everybody's writing grants and everybody's submitting for grants, and whoo, that is hard.
It's very hard, I'm learning so much. This is the first year that I've been writing grants, and I am learning immensely from the woman who is helping me. And so hopefully from here on out, it'll be much easier.
Oh, well, I don't know if that gets easier.
In theory.
Yeah. I mean, certain grants you're like, well, we're reapplying, okay, but then they never know what the curveball they're going to throw you. This is because you're you're asking for money.
Yeah.
From the government.
And you've got to work for it. That's fine. I'm not afraid of a little hard work.
No, of course not. Not in this business.
Not in
That's
this
all.
business.
Yeah, right.
But,
What is now? Let me talk to you about this. So you have your hands full, obviously, over there. And it's good that the building is still generating something, right? It
Yeah.
could have just gone dormant, but it's great that it's still producing art.
Yes.
If it was the cabaret space or now it's the Apprentice, it's still generating, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
You don't want white elephants. You don't want buildings to be dark.
Yes.
Especially with the arts.
Yeah.
But so what is going on? So now what's happening there, the production that's happening there is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, like
Yep.
we talked about, 5,000 people on a postage stamp and children moving rocks.
Yep.
And then, and so here's what I want to talk about. The car.
The car.
You have to get to the car.
The car is pretty magical.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because I saw it.
Yeah.
Before it was, I saw it as it was being constructed by Scott Osborne,
Yes.
local artist. Scott was commissioned
Yes.
to build this car from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
His design, his all his magic in his head, and so he and I actually he's like, come over and see the car I'm building it. I went over to his studio, and it wasn't finished, but I saw it in 2 different stages, right?
Yeah.
So it was pretty incredible that this car that you see now is and he's got this, he's got a motor in it. He used
it's a jazzy.
He used like a wheelchair, a jazzy wheelchair motor within to so it can rotate
And drive.
and move on the wheels under the oh my God. He had so many different things going on and through this and pulling levers and and it's really, really cool.
It's so cool. You won't even know how cool it is just watching it.
Right.
Because if you weren't there building it when it was a steel frame and a block of styrofoam.
That's right.
Like you're not
carved everything out of styrofoam.
Everything's carved out of styrofoam.
Covered it with my God.
Vinyl flooring. To look like a boat.
Right.
Shaped steel. Welded everything together. There's wings that you pull a lever in the back. The kids pull a lever and the wings pop out. Like it's magical, and it's like the set piece of the century for this thing.
Well, it is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a character. There's no way we could have done this show without an actual working car.
It is,
it's the titular character.
It's the title. So how do you do it? But on that stage alone, because I know how big that car is, and I'm like, oh my God, this must be the whole stage. Like,
it's pretty scaled perfect for our stage and for anyone who has like a smaller stage, because after this it will become a rental, so anyone who wants to use it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, of course.
And based on what we've found, because we went and looked at rentals, because you can rent the car. And
I've seen other cars. I've seen other cars.
And but we think we're one of 2 or 3 that actually drive, that don't have to be pushed by stage crew during performance, which is super, super fun. Does it give us some heart attacks sometimes? But it's pretty good.
I know we're getting it on and off that stage. I know how small that space is.
Well, and what we learned, Will Wood was the director. He's also the owner of the Cat. Gave the stage crew the biggest blessing in the world, and he didn't even know he was doing it when he was directing, because we have a front stage curtain. We extended the stage 4 feet, so we had a nice stage space in front of the curtain. All of the scenes where the car then needs to disappear are in front of the curtain. So we don't have to have a minute-long set change while we get the car off stage. Because when we were originally talking, we were like, okay, we're going to have to drive it back onto the platform and then pull the platform outside and 3-point turn it back to get into place. And we get into Tech Week, and we're running the show and doing all the things, and I go, did you purposely give me a closed curtain? And he goes, sure. Yeah, I totally did that on purpose. Because because of the jazzy in the middle, you can throw it in, you can open the hatch that Scott made me and put it into neutral, and then you just push it around.
Right.
So it's like,
it's great.
It's brilliant. And then you just back it back onto the platform. It's ready to go for the next thing. It takes all of 30 seconds and 2 people.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. So if you need a car built, Scott Osborne is your man.
At Brown Hound
Studios. He's on
Instagram,
he's right
Facebook?
He's right there on
Gradle.
Gradle.
Yep.
His studio's on Gradle. There you go. But I mean, just look up Brownhound Studios. I'm sure you can find him.
Yes.
But he can build just about anything. So whatever you need built, whether it be steel, styrofoam, flooring, a jazzy. He just puts everything together and makes it work. He's really pretty, like, he's an artist. So you think that way, right? You think, like, what can I use for this? What can I use for that? Look what I found. Oh my gosh, this is perfect, right?
Yep.
So sometimes it's just finding those weird little things that'll work on your project. His mind's always going, So and he's here. He's just in the other room running the podcast for us, so you can see us. Otherwise, he'd be sitting here too. But what's next? What's happening? You're going into the holidays.
So we'll close Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and then the Friday after Thanksgiving, we open a show from a local playwright called Home for the Holidays.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, we have Ashley Nicole Soprano in for her holiday show Thursday and Friday, and then it's holiday fundraisers, and then Carmel Community Players is in with Moon Over Buffalo.
Okay. Are they rent there? Do they rent there now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have
I didn't know where they were, actually.
So this year, they've been either with us or at the Ivy Tech auditorium in Noblesville.
Oh,
there were some shows that we just are a little too small to accommodate.
Right.
And which is something we're running into more frequently.
Oh, yeah. Wow, it's tough. Yeah. It's tough.
It's tough, but it's great for all of, like, the small shows. And to be fair, Apprentice Theater does large shows at least once a year.
Yeah. We're obviously making it work.
You would be surprised how much you can fit on that stage if you think cleverly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that is what it's all about. It's like thinking outside the box. What can you do to make this work in a smaller space? How can you make the show work? It's a challenge, but sometimes it really makes you, like you said, it really makes you think and makes you be creative. Exactly.
So
exactly.
Because I mean, we've done shows. I did Little Mermaid 2-3 years ago, and that takes place in at least 3 different settings: underwater, on the ocean, and in a castle.
Right. Yeah.
And I had someone hooked me up with some curtain rods, or like that you can hook things on sliders.
Yes.
And so I built really thin Luan walls and painted them and hid them backstage, and that's how I have a fly system now. It doesn't go into the ceiling; it goes into to masking. But it's
oh, I see what you mean. So they slide.
So they slide like this.
They're horizontal. Okay.
So I can have.
Oh my God! Yeah,
3 different whole sets on the back wall.
Right.
Although I don't need to use those anymore because we installed a large LED screen the entire length of the back wall for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Oh, that's great.
And so now that is available for people to rent for their shows for backdrops.
Oh, that's cool.
Which opens up way more possibilities.
Well, of course it does. I've seen that. Obviously, it's in certain shows where it's just screen. They're using the screen. Yeah. I've seen that, and sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's a little weird. Well, but other times,
And we've done a couple of shows dabbling with, like, projections and screens.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get the correct lumens for the projectors and the right distance from everything to keystone it correctly. So we just said, we're just going to buy a giant 7 by 14-foot TV and install it on the back wall from a local Indiana company called Neoti.
Oh, I don't know them.
So Neoti does the big, like, Jumbotron screens.
Yes.
Nationwide.
Wow. And they're here in Indiana.
And they're local in Indiana.
Wow.
And so they came and installed and taught me how to install.
Yeah, well, then there's that. Now you know that. Then check one more thing on your resume. Oh, my gosh, right? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
So when you grew up here.
Yes.
In Carmel. I mean, this is what I think of, because I think of me growing up and how much it's changed here.
Yeah.
In Carmel. How the landscaping has changed, how everything is, I think probably since you grew up, probably big difference.
In the last 10 years between when I left from high school to now is insane. I still remember driving home from college and all of the roundabouts were still being installed. and all of the new highway exits from 31 and 465. And I'm just like, I don't know where I'm going in the dark anymore, which was a strange feeling because I had been driving for almost 3 years at that point in time.
Right.
And then now I watch as Carmel is built up all around us, and it's it's just interesting to watch all of the growth. And how it really has become very much a walkable city.
Yeah, that's what I like. It's very pedestrian friendly.
Yeah.
Like any city really should be.
Well, and if you know anything about working in an office and having to type at a computer all day.
Not me.
Sometimes you just have to. You just have to leave.
But I can see you writing grants and everything. Right. You're just like, I got to get out of here, right? Gotta go for a walk.
It's so nice. Because I can leave the cat and it's a block to the Monon and then a couple blocks in any direction to... I can go get a juice, I can get a coffee, I can go down to Rita's and get some ice cream if I want ice cream, or, I worked in a place in Lawrence where it took a 20-minute drive to get any kind of food for lunch, and I can walk out my door and walk across the alley and get some really good food, which is ideal for me because I'm a foodie.
Well, I like that too. You know, I do like that too. If you can walk everywhere, if you can run it. I think that's awesome. You know, it helps with congestion, car congestion, and all that.
Yes.
The roundabouts do too. I like them. I happen to really like them.
I do too.
You know, I don't like to stop and idle and wait. I get impatient, so I'm like, yay, roundabouts. You know, I dig them. But and a big I mean, there's big transition going on, of course, in the city with the new mayor and everything, and you know, Sue Finkham will be, as of next year, will be the new Carmel mayor.
Yes.
Congratulations, Sue.
Yes, congratulations.
And everyone else who made it to the city council and got on. That was one hell of a campaign for everybody. We had like almost everybody on the podcast, so I got to talk to a lot of people, and it was really interesting to get to talk to everyone. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you...
I'm just interested to see where everything goes. I live in Westfield, so like...
Oh my God, you're living in Westfield now?
But I mean... I've lived in Westfield since I was 12 years old, but I just enjoy watching and getting to talk to everyone in terms of like, I love talking about the arts with anyone that crosses my path.
Yeah.
But it seems like every election season, everyone wants to talk a little bit more about it with me, and I talk about it, of course, because I'm interested in what they think about it. You know, it's important. So I'm just excited to see what is coming next.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be good. I think it's you know, listen. Transitions are hard, difficult sometimes, but they're good.
They're good.
And it brings a freshness to certain things. And so I mean, and that's, you know, listen, whether it's transition to companies or, you know, this or that, or obviously in politics there's always transitions. I mean, there's always new people getting elected, or you know, or not.
Well, and I work with mostly apprentices or like people who come into my space, and it's always difficult that everyone's transitioning into their own, you know, tech week, or, you know, as people in the industry call it hell week.
Yep.
And things go awry at all points in terms when you do a transition, and then you just kind of mellow out. It takes a couple of days. And
yeah, you got to take some deep breaths sometimes during tech, you know, and just
take a long walk.
Yep. And just, you got to just, you know, and if everybody is calm, cool, and collected, you get through it.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens. It always happens. It always happens.
Everything always happens.
Yeah.
It always winds up working in some way, shape, or form.
Some reason it does. I know. I agree with you. Yeah. There's certain points you're like, oh my God. Oh my God, we got to fix this. You know, all of this tech. And then somehow it's just, you make it happen. You know? Just do your thing, and it happens.
The show opens, and you go, that went better than I thought.
Oh my God!
You just go, huh? That actually worked.
So when do you guys run a season like? What is the season there? You know what I mean? Does it run into the spring?
So we do a calendar season, but some of the people who like live at our company, so like Carmel Community Players and The Point, and people who rent us for their seasons, which are like fall to spring seasons. But Apprentice Theater, we only do 2 shows a year at the moment. Okay. So we do a play in the spring and a musical in the fall. Okay. And then next year we've adopted a couple of shows. Okay. Which is because our program is a no audition program for adults most of the time. Okay. So like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang involved kids, but mostly it's 14 and up or 16 and up, depending upon what the show is. But next year we'll also have I Love You, You're Perfect Now Change that we've adopted from a small group, which means that we're just helping produce it and helping with tickets.
Well, it's only 4 people in the cast, so it's a small show.
And a piano player and a drummer,
Yeah, it's a small show.
It's a small show. We've also adopted the sequel to Four Old Broads, which we did last August.
I don't know that one. I'm not familiar. I am one. I'm just not familiar with that show.
But it was a rousing success, and everyone's just like, someone emailed and they go, so we'd like to do the sequel.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, okay.
Did you know there was one?
We did. So the playwright's fairly local, like within the tri-state area.
Okay.
And she emailed us and sent us thank you cards and sent us resources to use for the show. And she goes, by the way, I just finished writing the third one. So there's Four Old Broads, and then the Four Old Broads at Sea, where the whole point of the first one is they're going on a cruise together.
Oh God, yes.
So then they go on the cruise.
Right.
And then they go and do the Miss Magnolia pageant one more time, which is
Is this the one you're talking about?
We're doing that.
What are you doing?
The ocean one.
The cruise.
The cruise.
Okay.
Because apparently I've read the description. I can't remember if it's a murder mystery or like some kind of heist that's trying to be done on. Because there's mysteries, and these 4 old broads are trying to.
Is that what they are? They try to solve a mystery?
They try to solve all the mysteries.
They're like 4 Miss Marples.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
They're their own Scooby-Doo bunch.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Your mystery van. Oh, man.
And then I think we've also adopted the Carol Burnett show, maybe. That one's still in talks. So 5 shows that we'll produce next year. That's going
to be a tough one. You can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to reenact that.
That one's a little hard.
That's hard. It's hard to reenact that stuff. It was like a. That's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
that's
which
difficult.
is why it's not Apprentice. It is an adopted show.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds good. Sounds like you guys are busy.
Yeah. It's when I look at my calendar for everyone who's either reserved space for the next year, I'm like, I'm going to run out of weekends for people.
That's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have.
That's
but
very
I hate when it gets to the point where I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't have any more space.
Well, then you book them. Then they wait.
Well, and then they go. I say, well, this is when I open the calendar every year, and please let me know. And
yeah. Early bird gets the worm. Sounds like over there.
And I play Tetris with a lot of groups. There's some groups that I really can't move because they have their set season, but there are groups that I'm just like, hey, can you just. Can we talk about sharing space and doing other things, especially if it's something like a recital that wants to happen on the Thursday night?
That's hard. You're doing all the scheduling, and scheduling is a beast. Scheduling is a beast for anybody and anything, even just scheduling a meeting.
Yes. Yeah.
But well, kudos to you.
Thank you.
And I'm glad it's active and things are going on over there.
You could show up every week and it would be something different.
That's good.
Except for Apprentice Theater, because we occupy for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Don't you rehearse in there too?
Or do you only when it's available.
Okay.
Other than that, I have some really wonderful donors and sponsors who let me use their conference rooms.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's space.
We leave this, it's great because I train my apprentices, leave a space better than you found it, and those kinds of things. And
that teaches them too. That teaches the kids to be responsible.
Yeah. And when they go out to do things with other groups, because I have many, many graduates that have gone to do other things, they leave a space cleaner than they found it.
That's
they
good.
have their stuff off book when they're supposed to. They know all their stage directions.
That's good.
Which sometimes I don't even have.
Well, as long as they know.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's awesome. Audrey, thank you.
Thank you
so much for being here. I'm so glad everything's working out, and you're a hardworking woman. And huzzah! And so yes, and that's important too. If you're miserable, why are you doing it? And so nobody wants to be miserable. And so you obviously enjoy your job. It's hard, but you enjoy it, and that's great because you're a pleasure. Obviously, when you enjoy your job, you're a pleasure to be around. Others like being around. Things go much more smoothly and if you
Yes.
didn't, you know.
Yes.
So so I think that's wonderful, and so thank you very much, and thank you for having Arts in Carmel.
Yeah.
And so real quick before we take off here, next up for ATI is some holiday offerings, which will be 2 headliners ATI is having at the Studio Theater over there at the Center for the Performing Arts. Wayne Powers is for 2 nights. I think it is December 13th and 14th. And then Katie Gentry is the 15th, 16th, and 17th of December. So they're each doing their each individual shows over there, holiday shows over there. So it's Celebrate the Holidays with ATI with Wayne Powers and then Katie Gentry. Both of them are great. Wayne's the old, he calls himself the last of the saloon singers. So he'll do a tribute to Sinatra. He'll do all the old, the old crooners. And Katie Gentry, who is one of the best voices that I have ever had the pleasure of working with or hearing. Do you know Katie?
I do. I've worked with Katie before.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She is amazing.
She's going to do, she'll do a little Judy Garland. She really is very good at that. But that's not what the show. She'll do a little bit of that, but she'll do some of her some religious and gospel tunes that she loves, and so she's going to have quite a span of music, holiday music in hers. And they're both going to be awesome. So you can visit atistage.org. You can call the box office, 317-843-3800. But get your tickets because they're both wonderful, really dynamic performers. So until next time, next week, next Wednesday, I'm Cindy Collins, Audrey Larkin. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.